Today we're going to be looking at a sheep. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel Kazzalistic, and hi to my new subscribers, thank you for joining me. So today we're going to be looking at this little fella. Some of you may recognise obviously the branded name, but I'm just going to put sheep in the title because I don't want to get copyrighted and all that. But obviously this is Shaun the sheep, or hopefully it looks like Shaun the sheep. Hopefully you got that from the first look. Yeah, I love it. I will never ever ever make another one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Not the pattern that was a fault, it was more to do with the yarn. Yeah, so anyway, this little guy was a kit from PurpleLinda. I will just say, Shaun, this is your fault because you're the one that made me go to PurpleLinda. I'm blaming Shaun. Everyone else blames Shaun, so I'm going to join the club. Love you. But yeah, Shaun's obviously spoken about PurpleLinda a lot, so I thought I would, because I tend to use Amazon a lot for my yarn purchase, and I thought I would actually go to a different place to see what kits. I love kits. I do like my kit where you've got everything, and it's, you know what I'm saying, we've got everything and you haven't got to worry about buying the yarn separately and all this stuff. So this little guy came as a kit. I bought it from PurpleLinda. I will say that I am not endorsed, I am not sponsored, yada yada yada, by PurpleLinda. My views are my own, and so forth and so on. So yeah, so this kit, I think it was about, I think it was £10 plus there was postage on top. So so it all came in a plastic bag like that. It was actually completely full, this bag. It came with 3 balls of yarn, came with the crochet hook that you required. These are googly eyes, but they are safety eyes that came with those. It came with 2 stitch markers, the yarn, and of course the pattern. The pattern was written by Linda Smith, which is PurpleLinda, and it does say on the pattern that it cannot be sold photocopied, and the finished item cannot be sold. So if you decided to make one of these, you won't be able to sell them on. It's got to be for personal use only, which is fair enough. I will be keeping, this is one of the few things I'm keeping for myself, because he was so hard to make, and I do have a bit of a thing about sheep and butterflies and tigers are my thing, so there are reasons why I like sheep, but I'm not going to go into that on camera. Yeah, so came with a pattern. Sorry, it's no pattern on the front, it's just about what stitches are used, that's it. So that's it's called Shaun the Sheep Crochet Pattern by Linda Smith. So the pattern comes with it. It's basically on an A4 sheet of paper. The pattern was very easy to follow. The only thing I will say about the pattern, it gave instructions on where to put the ears, which was very helpful. There were no instructions on how to attach the head whatsoever, and I actually found attaching the head very difficult to know where to position it and actually how to position it on. It didn't tell you where to position the arm, well, I say arms and legs, but on the pattern they're all classed as legs. But the shaping of the legs, the way it was done, it did make it easy to sew on. So they weren't so much of a problem. The head was a huge problem for me to stitching it on. I'm still not sure that I've done it right. You can actually see where I've gone through the couple of stitches. I'm not very happy with that, but it's for me and no one else, so it doesn't really matter. The good thing is, I don't know if it'll work on the back of the sofa, but he does, I don't think it's going to work because it's not, no, it's not going to work. But basically, because of the way the legs and the tail go, if you prop him up against a sofa or something, he will actually stand up, which is pretty cool. Right, so the yarn that was used, you obviously get the stitch markers, the crochet hook pattern, googly eyes, and you get 2 balls of this, which is King Cole Cuddles Double Knitting. So that's what it's called there. 50 gram balls, 100% polyester, 149 yards, which is 136 meters, and the colour is 1175 white. I will say this is super soft. It's really lovely. I mean, it really is. Cuddles is the right word for it. It's beautifully soft yarn. So I had two balls. That is what I've got left of the second ball. I've caked it and I've tightened the ball band around it with a bit of sellotape. So it's actually not. I only really needed 150 gram ball. I know why she's put the extra in because obviously everyone's tension's different. But for me, I only actually needed one, so I've got a spare ball of yarn. So that's pretty cool. So this yarn, it's not eyelash yarn, but it's sort of fluffy. I should really know what the technical term is, and I can't think what it is. I know that I know it, but anyway, it's very sort of fluffy. Now, the problem with this yarn is when you crochet with it, you can't see your stitches. So if you're a beginner, I would definitely say do not use this yarn. If you're sort of further down the road, you know, intermediate to obviously experienced, you probably can do it, but you actually have to physically feel for your stitches, which I managed to do. The only time I really struggled was when you started working on decrease rounds. You know, it's all worked in UK double crochets or US single crochets, the whole pattern. But in places sort of here where you're crocheting 2 stitches, you know, decreasing 2 stitches together, that was okay, but when you got to the next round, I couldn't tell where the decrease actually was. It was very hard to feel, so there are a few little mistakes in here. You can't tell. I think I've got away with it, but there were a few mistakes in places where I got to the end and my stitch count wasn't quite right. I'd increased by a couple of stitches, and I think it's just where I'd perhaps put two single crochets or double crochets in the UK into one place. There should just been one, if that makes sense. So that was my only criticism of the yarn, just I couldn't see the stitches. I could have put, you know, obviously a strand. I know that with a lot of yarns like this, people say to put a strand of acrylic yarn alongside it, but of course then it would have lost some of the effect, and I don't think it would have looked quite as good as the finished result. So it's always a bit of a toss up whether you do that or not. I think if I did it again, I might, just to see how it turned out, but I persevered. Now the other yarn I used was King Cole Pricewise Double Knitting, and this was a 100 gram ball. This is what I've got left. Again, I've caked it. I'm trying to get into the habit of caking what's left over so it's easier to store. So that's the yarn there. I quite like the label. I think that's very cute. It's got a little owl on it. It's King Cole Pricewise. 100 gram ball, and it is 100% acrylic. 320 yards, 290 meters. Shade is 48, and it is black. No great surprise there. This yarn is quite soft. It was good to use. It didn't split. The only thing I will say, it does shed fibres. So if you don't like, you know, if you've got a white top on, for instance, and you're working with this, you will get a lot of black fibres on your top. Just to pre-warn you. Other than that, can't fault the yarn. So the pattern, basically you start from here, and yes, my decreases were there, not there. I'm getting it the wrong way around, aren't I? So you start up here, and you work your way down, do decreases, work a couple of rounds of straight single crochet or double crochet in UK terms, and then some increases and straight rows again, and then some decreases. The body and the tail are all made in one piece, which is good because you don't have to stitch together and position everything. All 4 legs are all made in exactly the same way. You start from the bottom. That's Chip. She's off the eggs, by the way. So you start here. Everything with this is worked in the round, I should say. So you start there, do some basic increases, a few straight rows, decreases, and then it's just all single crochets, double crochet in UK terms, all the way, straight rows, whole the way up. So legs are very, very simple. Their head, you start here, you work an oblong shape, sort of oval shape, and then you do sort of gradual increases throughout, and then obviously towards the top you decrease. Then you change yarn to the white yarn, and then it's very slight increases and then decreases, and obviously it's all stuffed, and then you just stitch up the top of the head. It does tell you in the pattern exactly where to put the eyes, which I did find helpful. The ears are again worked in the round, sort of basic increases and decreases, nothing remarkable. It's got a little bit of shaping near the top, and got blurry again. So the ears, it did tell you exactly what round you needed to stitch them on, so that was very helpful. So really the only thing I really struggled with was how to stitch on the head. So that's how he's sitting. It's the only way from the front I could get it to look like it was Shaun the sheep. But my stitching wasn't that great, and you'll probably be able to see there, you can see a couple of my stitches. Can't see it when it's side on, but it's that's bugging me a little bit. It said to use the white yarn to put it through, but I'm actually wishing I'd used the black now, but I was following her instructions. So overall he's very soft, he feels lovely. I love the way he looks. I'm really super pleased with him. I was starting to give up the will to live with the black yarn in particular, because as we all know, black yarn is a nightmare to work with if you've got bad lighting, and of course we had a few rainy days here, but I persevered and got through it. And sorry, she's just going to start squeaking, so I just got to... Enough, stop it, good girl. Never work with children and animals, they say, don't they? Sorry about that, but she would have been squeak, 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 and you wouldn't have been able to hear me. So she's doing it for attention because she's not the centre of attention right now. Yeah. So back to the Shaun the sheep. Overall, I'm really pleased with how he came out. I'm glad I've made it. I wouldn't make it again just because it was so hard to see. You couldn't see the stitches with the white, and obviously we all know black yarns are a nightmare to work with. And I really didn't think that through before I bought the kit. So it's my own fault, but I'm glad I've done it, and I'm going to keep it for the very reason that it was something that was very hard to do, and sometimes it's good to remind ourselves actually that we can do these things even when we think we can't, and that's something that I do have to remind myself a lot of in life, that I might think I can't do something but actually I can. So that's the finished result. I have to say, as far as the actual kit and the provisions were concerned, it didn't come with the stuffing, but most kits don't, which we all know. The stuffing on PurpleLinda is the cheapest I found anywhere, so I was very impressed with the price of the stuffing from her. She provided the crochet hook. It was a nice smooth one. It's just a metal aluminium one, 3.5mm hook, in case you're wondering, which I think it will say on there. Probably not going to focus, is it? Not going to focus. You have to take my word from it. 3.5mm hook. It was lovely, smooth to work with. The stitch markers were well thought out. I got one dark purple and one white one. So obviously use the dark one on the light wall, the light one on the dark wall. So that was well thought out as well. So it's actually, as far as a kit goes, it was very, very well thought out. So if you're up for a challenge, then absolutely get it. It was worth the money. Just for me personally, it was a huge challenge to do. I haven't really crocheted with yarn like this particular one, so it's been a learning curve. So you know, it all adds to the experience, doesn't it? So I would recommend it if you're up for a challenge. That's how I'll leave it. But I am pleased with the final result. Yeah. So as you can hear, Chirpy Girl is out of her cage. For those of you that are new to the channel, I actually have two cockatiels. One lives in the living room. Her name is Chip. She has been on videos in the past, but refuses to come down and be in anymore, don't you? Yes, there you go. I have tried to get her on camera a few times, but she just not having any of it. So I'll have to persevere with that one because I know a lot of you are dying to see her again. Yeah. Everything in my life is pretty much how it was last time I saw you. Nothing much has really changed. Yeah, gonna have a busy week coming up next week because my friend's sister is coming over from America. She may possibly be bringing me some yarn from America as well. I don't know how much it will be or what it will be, so I may have something to show in that respect coming up. Although I do have an absolute mountain of yarn to show you guys anyway, so I'm not going to be short for yarn to share. Yeah, it's not a lot to tell you really. No. Life's been pretty uneventful this last week, which is how I like it. So yeah, so I will try and do a video at the weekend, or maybe I might do it Friday, because Saturday I'm going to be pretty tied up because that's the day my friend's sister arrives. So I will probably record it on Friday, and I'll try and get out Friday night. So I'm thinking I will probably do the yarn haul from Grace, and obviously when I do that I will link her channel and everything. Grace has sent me some American yarns that I'm just like, wow. So it was very exciting. I'm not like Shaun and Jan and Ephraim. They all wait and to do it on camera. I just can't. I cannot wait to do it on camera. I get way too excited. I open it beforehand, so I'm sorry. But yeah, so but Grace has sent lots of lovely yarns. There's some Karen cakes and some all sorts. I love this yarn, Hobby Lobby I think it is. I love this yarn as well, and some other yarns as well. So I've got lots to show you for that. So I'm thinking I'll probably do that as the next video, and then we'll see where we go from there. I still have a yarn haul from Jan and Pearl to come. I've almost finished my frog that I've been working on for quite a while, on and off. I still have the unicorn finished. It's only tiny little. This unicorn's going to be such an anticlimax when I've done, because it's about that big. So still got that to finish. So I've got virus blankets still to share, which I'll probably do next week because the person it's for, their birthday is on the 10th of May. So I just need to block it. That's the only reason I haven't shown it on camera. I'm working on the Down the Rabbit Hole shawl, which Grace very kindly paid for the pattern and donated it to me on Ravelry. So thanks, Grace. I really appreciate it. So I've been working on that, so that will be coming up as well. I've got a baby blanket that I've made. I'm not going to say too much more than that in case the person watches. I'm not sure if they do or not, but yeah, so I've got a few different, I've got quite a lot to show you guys. I was scrambling a bit before I got ill, and now it's kind of gone the other way. I've got so much to show, but I'd rather have too much to show than not enough, because at least it's good content. So next one will be a yarn haul. And what I may do is I may alternate, do yarn haul, then do a finished project, yarn haul, I might do it like that. I'm certainly not going to do all the yarn hauls in one big clump because not everybody likes them, I know. So yeah, I've also I've got some older projects that I finished quite some time ago. I've got a needle case that I did using the yarn from Rochelle from Queen's Yarn Boutique that I won. I've got a twiddle muff to show you as well. For those of you who don't know what a twiddle muff is, it is literally a muff, like, you know, in time gone by when people used to keep their hands warm in them, go over both your hands, but you add bits to them to fiddle with, basically, fiddle and twiddle. For people with dementia, I think most of you are probably aware what they are, but just in case you're new to twiddle muffs. So I have got one of those that's finished to show you as well. So I've got all sorts of different bits and bobs coming up. So if there's anything you particularly like to see, then let me know in the comments section. I'd love to know what you're working on, because I always really enjoy when you tell me what you're working on. So what are you working on? Are you doing something interesting? I know a lot of people are working on Down the Rabbit Hole shawl. I think a lot of people are working on the shawl with bees, isn't there? All honeycomb shapes that Catherine from Afternoon Treats was talking about. I know a lot of people are working on those. That's a paid for pattern though, so I haven't splashed out on that. I'll try and get me freebies if I can. Yeah, so I think that's enough waffle for one day. So if you're still watching, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you got to the end. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you're all well, or recovering, if you have been unwell. Yeah, what's been going on in your lives? Do love hearing about yours, so please do let me know. And Shaun the sheep would love to know as well. I actually remembered to put Shaun on Instagram. First time I've posted on Instagram for a very long time. I am sorry, I'm rubbish with Instagram and Twitter. I really am very much a Facebook bunny, so I do apologise. If you are new to the channel, I do have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. The group is somewhere where you can share yarn hauls, projects you're working on, finished projects, that sort of thing. It's a good place to gain community. Had some really lovely things go up, so it's been really interesting to see. Yeah, so that's enough self-promotion, I think, because I'm not really very good at that anyway. So until next time, you know what's coming. Remember to stay well, happy crafting, and until next time, remember to stay true to yourself. Bye, and bye for Chip too. Bye.